Now, I have been doing videos in the Historic Ordnance series since the first year of this channel, which was 2016. And the very first video in the Historic Ordnance series was a retaliation against YouTube for a video that they took down of mine that they said violated community guidelines. And that video was the World War I Anzac Jam Tin Grenade. I didn't think the series would really go much anywhere, but it actually brings more views to this channel than any of the other videos that I do. I actually have videos, multiple, in the Historic Ordnance series that have over 100,000 views each, where normally I'm looking at maybe 500 to 2,000 views on an average video. Now, typically when I do those videos, I try to get a hold of actual training aids and use them when I can if they're available and they don't cost much. If I can't afford an actual training aid, I get a hold of a replica if there's one available somewhere or someone can make me one and it doesn't cost much. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes people are just asking way too damn much money for a little piece of plastic. So then I get pictures for those videos to help you guys out, to give you a visual. Now, the Historic Ordnance series, a lot of the viewers that watch the videos and leave comments tell me that they're in military explosive ordnance disposal, or they're deminers, or they work on a bomb squad for a particular law enforcement agency and they thank me for the information I put out. I've actually had a couple guys from bomb squad and EOD leave comments saying that I better explained in my video on how a particular piece of ordnance works and how to disable it than their instructors in the classroom are able to do. So, you know, the information's out there for the people that need it. And that includes you line dogs that are out there, you combat engineers that face this stuff on the battlefields. You guys are the primary audience for the Historic Ordnance series. And combat engineers over in the militia movement. Why? Because if anything ever happens, any type of invasion or police state, things like foreign mines, even old ones, are very likely to appear on the battlefield. And those militia combat engineers need to know how to disable these if possible to make areas safe for civilians. Now, the information I get for those videos is all open source, including the pictures. When I do any research on a piece of ordnance, I type the stuff up online. There's a few websites I go to first to look for information. If they don't have it, then I check some others. Then I do some general free open Google searches. And that includes the pictures. When I get pictures for those videos, I go online, look up that piece of ordnance, and then look for non-copyrighted pictures. If a picture is copyrighted, it actually says it on there, you know, in the little description that, hey, this is copyrighted. I don't use that picture. Which brings us to the subject of today's video. Now, I found out this morning, because I'm still going through getting caught up after getting out of the hospital. I have a notice from YouTube that I have a video that's going to be taken down because someone is claiming copyright for a picture on a thumbnail. Now, this particular video is on the MVN 72 magnetically influenced anti-tank mine fuse. Now, I did get a comment from someone that said they're from a company that owns the picture and that I need to contact them so we can work out a deal and I can promote their stuff. Then they'll let me keep the video, otherwise they're going to take it down. Well, what I did, I banned the person that did that, and just to be on the safe side, I went and I changed the thumbnail picture. While I was in the hospital, even though the thumbnail picture has been changed, this person contacted YouTube and has convinced YouTube to get the video taken down for violating copyrights, unless I contact the company and promote their products. So what is the company that did this to me? This company is EO Dynamics out of Sweden. Reportedly on their website, they have been in operation since 2023. I never even heard of these people before this stuff. I don't even get information from them. But apparently in one of my searches for free online pictures of ordnance, one of their pictures came up in that search, and they claimed copyright over it. This company has apparently trying to intimidate me to promote them. So my response to that is, I highly recommend you, the viewer, block this company from any searches on your computer. If they ever come up when you do searches for information, move on to the next website. Now, their website is, there is no www in front of it. It is EO Dynamics, DYNAMICS.co. That is EO DYNAMICS.co. Block them from your internet browser so they do not come up. Do not do any type of business with this company if they believe that the only way to get their name out there is to intimidate people for free advertising. So fuck them. They go on the burn pile. Who do I recommend for getting information on that is free, that you can access right now, this very minute, if you are looking up information on ordnance? Well, I'll give you some of these special places that I go to when I look for information for my videos. First off, my primary #1 source is the U.S. Army. Why? Because they have been putting out manuals for decades on foreign ordnance. If I'm looking at something, especially it's from the Cold War or older, I first check the U.S. Army manuals to see if it's listed in there. And if it's from the Cold War, especially 1970s and earlier, I typically will find the information in a U.S. Army manual. The U.S. Army is a great source for information on ordnance, our stuff and enemy. And one of the best places you can go to access U.S. Army manuals, because you're not really going to get them from the U.S. Army anymore. You'll get them from like general searches and stuff. But a place I highly recommend you go to for information that does link to U.S. military manuals is bulletpicker.com. That is www.bulletpicker.com. Bulletpicker.com. Great source for free information on ordnance. Going back about 100 years, I think, is what I've seen inside their library. They have links to manuals going back to World War I and before. Not every manual that's ever in existence, but they have a considerable amount of them over here in the side in their library. Great source, highly recommend them. Now, after the U.S. Army, if it's a piece of ordnance that's newer, 1970s and newer, or it's not appearing in the U.S. Army manual for some reason, the next location I go to and I highly recommend is CAT UXO. That is no www in front of it. CAT CAT-UXO.com. That is CAT-UXO.com. CAT-UXO is a great source with free information on explosive hazards, whether it is mines, mortars, artillery, hand grenades, you name it, including some IEDs, appear inside their website in the free information. If you want more in-depth information, you can actually sign up for a subscription so that you can get in there and get the more classified info. They are also a great source for pictures for use and stuff so that you can reference. Now, the next location that I recommend, I don't get as much info from them because a lot of the good stuff is locked down on their website, but they still have some pretty good free info, and I can find out, you know, the number of countries that use particular pieces of ordnance from these guys. The next site I recommend is Phoenix Insight. That is www.FENIXINSIGHT.com. That is www.FENIXINSIGHT.com. This is also another website where they encourage you to become a subscriber to get the really good info, but they do have a decent amount of information that's on their free snippets that has come in real handy in my historic ordnance videos. The next source that I have for information for my historic ordnance videos is basic news articles. A lot of times you will find a particular piece of ordnance referenced in an article or in news footage. It doesn't show you what to do, but sometimes watching that footage, you can pick up a step or a better explanation on a step that you read about somewhere else on a piece of ordnance. So there you go. There's my recommendations. You should already know this channel is not monetized. And intimidating me doesn't really work out, does it? So once again, a company to avoid and block from your searches is EODYNAMICS.co. That is EODYNAMICS.co. EO Dynamics. Block them from your searches. Block them from your browser. I do not recommend these people because I consider them highly unreputable for claiming copyright on a picture that did not come up as being copyrighted and was found during a general Google search for free pictures on a piece of ordnance. Avoid these people like the plague that they are. And being from Sweden, I'm sure they are a plague. Now, you may still wonder, is there any company I would actually want to be associated with, that I would actually shill for? Well, by now you should know there's only one. And that's Pabst Brewing Company. I'm still waiting, haven't heard anything from them, you know, but hey, if they would want to reimburse me with coupons for free beer, yeah, I'd be willing to mention you in every video, probably. Still waiting, you know. But as for these guys thinking they're going to intimidate me to get me to promote them for free advertising, they can suck a dick, which I'm sure they do, being from Sweden. There you go, people. Some recommendations on sites to look for information for free, and a recommendation for a site you should block today on your computers. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, all my engineer brothers in demining, in explosive ordnance disposal, in bomb squads, always remember, essayons, let us try.